Have you ever wondered how to make the perfect Warbat pastry at home? Well, you're in for a treat today. Warbat, also known as Warbat bil Ashta, is a Middle Eastern sweet pastry that has captured the hearts of dessert lovers worldwide. Originating from the Levantine region, this pastry is a delightful blend of crispy, buttery layers of dough filled with a sweet, creamy filling. One taste of this scrumptious pastry, and you'll understand why it's such a hit. The delicate, flaky layers of dough combined with the rich, creamy filling create an explosion of flavor that's hard to resist. To prepare this dessert, we'll need a few key ingredients: fine semolina, all-purpose flour, sugar, milk, and of course butter for that rich, buttery flavor. We'll also need some heavy cream for the filling and a sprinkling of powdered sugar for the finishing touch. Stay tuned as we delve into the process of making this delectable dessert. Making the perfect Warbat starts with preparing the dough. Let's dive right into it. The ingredients for our dough are pretty straightforward. You'll need all-purpose flour, sugar, salt, water, and yeast. Of course, the precise amounts matter, but so does the quality of your ingredients. Always opt for unbleached organic flour if possible, and make sure your yeast is fresh for the best results. Now on to the mixing. Begin by combining your dry ingredients. That's your flour, sugar, and salt. Give them a good whisk to ensure they're evenly distributed. Then, make a little well in the center of your dry mix. This is where you'll pour in your water and yeast. The yeast should be mixed with lukewarm water. Not too hot, not too cold to activate it. This is a crucial step, as the yeast is what will give our pastry its characteristic light and fluffy texture. Pour the yeast water mixture into the well you made in your dry ingredients. Now comes the fun part, mixing it all together. You'll want to use your hands for this to really feel the dough and make sure it's coming together properly. Start in the center, gradually incorporating the flour from the sides of the well. Keep kneading until you achieve a soft, smooth dough. This could take about 10 to 15 minutes, but trust me, it's worth the effort. Achieving the right dough consistency is key. It should be soft yet firm, pliable but not sticky. If it's too dry, add a bit more water. If it's too sticky, sprinkle in a little extra flour. Once you're happy with your dough, let it rest. Cover it with a clean towel and set it aside in a warm, draft-free spot. This resting period allows the yeast to do its work, making our dough rise and become even more fluffy and light. With the dough now ready, it's time to move on to the next step. Remember, the secret to a fantastic Warbat pastry lies in patience, attention to detail, and quality ingredients. So take your time, enjoy the process, and stay tuned for our next step, preparing the cream filling. Now, it's time to whip up the creamy filling that makes Warbat so irresistible. We begin with the main character of our creamy filling, the milk. Whole milk is preferred for its rich taste. However, if you're watching your calories, feel free to substitute with your milk of choice. Next up is sugar. It adds the sweet taste that balances out the savory dough of our pastry. We're also going to need cornstarch, which will act as a thickening agent, giving our filling that delightful creamy consistency. Next, we can't forget the star of the show, the cream cheese. Its smooth, velvety texture is what gives our filling its luxurious richness. And last, but definitely not the least, we have vanilla extract. It imparts a lovely aroma and a subtle sweetness that takes our cream filling to another level. Now let's dive into the process. We start by combining the milk, sugar, and cornstarch in a saucepan. Stir it all together until the sugar and cornstarch are well dissolved. Then, we place our saucepan over low heat. This is crucial as cooking over high heat could lead to scorching, and we definitely don't want that. So keep the heat low and stir continuously. Once our mixture begins to thicken, we add in the cream cheese. Continue stirring until the cream cheese is fully incorporated. This may take a few minutes, but trust me, it's worth the effort. Once the cream cheese is fully blended into our mixture, we add in the vanilla extract. Stir it in and then remove the saucepan from the heat. Remember, patience is key when making the cream filling. It's all about slow and steady stirring to ensure a smooth, creamy result. But don't worry, your efforts will be well rewarded when you taste the delectable cream filling in the finished product. With the cream filling now prepared, we are ready to assemble our Warbat. Next comes the exciting part. Let's assemble our Warbat. First things first, lightly flour your work surface. This will prevent the dough from sticking and ensure a smooth rolling process. Take the dough that we prepared earlier and roll it out into a thin, circular shape. Don't worry too much about perfection here. What we're aiming for is a thickness that's just right, not too thin to tear, but thin enough to bake to a delightful crispness. Now, We're going to take that rich, creamy filling we made and place a dollop right in the center of our rolled dough. I can't stress enough the size of your dollop matters. Too little and your Warbat will lack the luscious creaminess we adore. Too much and it may burst open during baking. I'd say a tablespoon or so should do the trick, but feel free to adjust to your preference. Once our filling is in place, it's time to fold. This is where the magic happens. Fold the dough over the filling, creating a semicircle. Then pinch the edges together to seal the Warbat. Be sure to press firmly, but gently. We don't want any of that wonderful cream escaping during baking. The importance of sealing the dough properly cannot be overstated. It's like the safety belt for our filling. It ensures that the cream stays inside, so it can bake to perfection, infusing the dough with its sweet, creamy goodness. After that, take a fork and crimp the edges for a decorative touch. It also adds an extra layer of security to keep our cream safely tucked inside. Finally, place your assembled Warbat on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Repeat the process with the remaining dough and filling. Soon, you'll have a tray full of unbaked Warbats, ready to transform in the oven into the cream-filled pastry of your dreams. Now that our Warbat is assembled, it's time to bake. With the Warbat assembled, we are ready to put it in the oven. Now this is where the magic happens. Baking transforms our carefully prepared dough and cream into the dreamy dessert that is Warbat. First, we need to preheat our oven. This is a crucial step that ensures even baking. We want to set our oven to a moderate temperature, around 350 degrees Fahrenheit to be precise. Once preheated, we're ready to slide in our tray of Warbats. Make sure they're spaced out evenly to allow for proper heat distribution. Now the baking time is crucial. We're looking at approximately 20 to 25 minutes, but this may vary slightly depending on your oven. So, how do you know when your Warbat is perfectly baked? Well, it's all in the color. You're looking for a beautiful golden brown color on the top, and the bottom should be just slightly lighter. This signals that the pastry is baked just right, with a crispy outside and a soft, creamy inside. Remember, every oven is unique, so keep a close eye on your Warbat during those final minutes. The enticing smell of baking Warbat will fill your kitchen, a delightful hint of the deliciousness that awaits. After baking, there's just one final step to complete our delicious Warbat. Finally, let's add the finishing touches to our Warbat. The beauty of this dessert isn't just in its taste, but in its presentation as well. So, let's make it look as delightful as it tastes. Start with a light dusting of powdered sugar. This not only adds a sweet layer to the pastry, but also gives it a beautiful snow-kissed appearance. The sugar should be just enough to highlight the golden brown color of the baked Warbat, but not overpower it. Next, we move on to the syrup. Now, this is a delicate step. You want to drizzle the syrup over the Warbat, ensuring it seeps into the pastry layers, enhancing the flavor of the cream filling and the dough. But remember, the key here is balance. Overdo it and you risk making it too sweet or soggy. Now for the presentation. The best way to serve Warbat is fresh and warm, straight out of the oven. Placed on a beautiful serving dish, maybe even a vintage one for that extra touch, will make it look as inviting as it tastes. If you're serving this to guests, you can even place each Warbat on individual dessert plates, decorated with a mint leaf or a dollop of cream on the side. The contrast of colors will make the Warbat pop, turning it into a visual feast. And there you have it, the perfect homemade Warbat pastry.